go. Episode 20
Episode 20.
of Dark and Creepy. What? Why do you make that face? Because you don't know what it is.
No, I do. I want to know.
What is it?
You're trying to make me say
What
it.
is
It's
it?
things.
Things. Dark and creepy things.
I think I've got it by now.
Oh, you'd hope so. 20 episodes in.
Yeah. This is the final episode, isn't it, for the year?
Are we stopping it there for the
I'm
year?
not sure, are we? I thought
Maybe.
we would.
I don't know. Before you kick it off, Frank, let's thank our patrons.
Okay, so Bitten by the Bug.
Bulldog,
Thanks, Mum.
Francis,
Myers, and Sian.
and Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Is that everyone?
Yeah, that's everyone. We only
Okay.
have 4 so far.
Oh,
Oh.
thank you though.
What's gonna happen if we get like 100? Are we gonna have to spend like the first 5 minutes of the podcast reading out everyone's names?
No, I think that, well, really, they're only paying for their names to be mentioned once, but given that we only have 4, they've been sponsoring us early on, we may as well just read their names. But if we start getting a lot more, then I guess we will just mention them. Although your mum pays a fair bit per month, so
Does she?
yeah,
Thanks, Mum.
Bitten by the Bug.
Well,
So we'll have to say her name like every
get
every
in
week.
now while the getting's good, because we'll keep saying your name until we get famous.
yeah, it's true. Then we'll have to up the ante.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, what have you got for us, Frank?
So,
It's 20th episode.
20th episode, something sciencey, but hopefully something creepy.
Louis is sitting in for the podcast.
Yeah, and he was licking my face before.
No, Lulu. He looks
Very cute.
big today.
So, episode is head transplant.
Head transplant.
Head transplant, not to be confused with a brain transplant. They are two
Correct.
different things.
Brains go inside the head.
Well, yes, but that's exactly what, it literally says, you know how we said in the
Yeah.
episode, not to be
Oh, like,
confused with
laughter.
man's laughter.
Yeah, manslaughter and man's laughter. Yeah.
This
that's
is
right.
not to be confused with brain transplant.
Okay, so head
Yes.
transplant.
A head
Why
transplant.
would someone need a head transplant?
Well, let me read. It might tell us why. A head transplant is an experimental surgical operation involving the grafting of one organism's head onto the body of another. In many experiments, the recipient's head was not removed, but in others it has been. Experimentation in animals began in the early 1900s. As of 2018, no durable success had been achieved.
With animals?
With anything.
Anything.
There are 3 main technical challenges. As with any organ transplant, managing the immune response to avoid transplant rejection is necessary.
Yeah.
Also, the brain is highly dependent on continuous flow of blood to provide oxygen and nutrients and to remove wastes, with damage setting in quickly at normal temperatures when blood flow is cut off. Finally, managing the nervous system in both the body and the head is essential in several ways. The autonomic nervous system controls essential functions like breathing and heart beating and is governed largely by the brainstem. If the recipient's head body... Let me say that again. If the recipient's body's head is removed, this can no longer function. Additionally, each nerve coming out of the head via the spinal cord needs to be connected to the putatively corresponding nerve in the recipient's spinal cord in order for the brain to control movement and receive sensory information. Finally, the risk of systematic neuropathic pain is high, and as of 2017 had largely been unaddressed in research. Of these challenges, dealing with blood supply and transplant rejection have been addressed in the field of transplant medicine generally, making transplantation of several types of organs fairly routine. However, as of 2017, in a field as common as liver transplantation, found a quarter of organs are rejected within the first year, and overall mortality is still much higher than the general population. The challenge of grafting the nervous system remained in early stages of research as of 2017. So I don't think there really is a reason to put another head on a body, other than let's do it. Scientists do that sometimes.
I would like a new body so I can just get my head and put it.
Yeah, but why would you do that? Why don't you just take your brain? Because then you would have your brain and all your thoughts and feelings
my
and
head.
stuff. Yeah, but what if you've got shitty eyesight or bad hearing?
Those things are okay, I like my face, so why can't I just keep my head?
Because it's more complicated.
It's my goal to be a head in a jar, right?
Yeah, I know that.
So I guess if it's too complicated to put on a good body, then
just put it in a jar.
just put it in a jar.
Well, but yeah, it'll be more complicated because you have to connect all the muscles and nerves and shit in your neck. Whereas if you've just got a brain, just put your brain in the new head and connect your nerves up
Yeah.
rather than all the muscles in your face and your neck.
But yeah, again, I'd like to keep my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so history. Alex Carrel was a French surgeon who had developed improved surgical methods to connect blood vessels in the context of organ transplantation. In 1908, he collaborated with the American Charles Claude Guthrie to attempt to graft the head of one dog onto an intact second dog.
Wait, was this just for funsies? The dog didn't need like another body or
No,
another
this
head?
is a lot of animal experimentation isn't for necessity.
Yeah,
it's for
okay.
research.
Don't listen, Louis. Come in your ears.
It's dogs, not cats.
He doesn't care.
The grafted head showed some reflexes early on, but deteriorated quickly, and the animal was killed after a few hours. Carroll's work on organ transplantation later earned a Nobel Prize. Guthrie was probably excluded because of this controversial work on head transplantation. Hang on, they worked together. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's because one experimenter did more work on it, and the other one didn't get a Nobel Prize because he did head transplants.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
I have feels about the Nobel Prize.
Oh, yeah.
I have many feels.
Yeah.
If you're interested, ask me about my feels.
About the... Just in general, or to do with the Nobel Prize?
Oh, to do with the way that the Nobel Prize is given.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me move on.
Okay. I'm letting you move on.
In 1954, Vladimir Demikov, a Soviet surgeon who had done important work to improve coronary bypass surgery, performed an experiment in which he grafted a dog's head and upper body, including the front legs, onto another dog. The effort was focused on how to provide blood supply to the donor head and upper body and not grafting the nervous systems. The dogs generally survived a few days. One survived 29. The grafted body parts were able to move and react to stimulus. Both animals died due to transplant rejection. So they didn't have connected nervous systems, though. So that means one dog would want to go one way and the other dog would want to go the other way, and they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other.
Yeah, that's not great.
It'd literally be attached to someone physically, but you wouldn't be able to feel what they're feeling.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to feel your back legs if you were the dog that weren't connected to the spinal cord.
Yeah.
That would be bizarre.
That's not cool.
In the 50s and 60s, immunosuppressive drugs were developed and transplantation techniques were developed that eventually made transplantation of kidneys, livers, and other organs standard medical procedures. In 1965, Robert J. White did a series of experiments in which he attempted to graft only the vascular system of isolated dog brains onto existing dogs to learn how to manage this challenge. He monitored brain activity with an EEG and also monitored metabolism, and showed that he could maintain high levels of brain activity and metabolism by avoiding any break in the blood supply. The animals survived between 6 hours and 2 days. In 1970, he did 4 experiments in which he cut the head off a monkey and connected the blood vessels of another monkey head to it. He did not attempt to connect the nervous systems. White used deep hypothermia to protect the brains during the times they were cut off from blood during procedure. The recipient bodies had to be kept alive.
So you're saying like he froze?
Almost.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have frozen because
Not frozen.
No, because when you freeze cells, they explode.
Right.
Yeah.
So keep keep it quite body temperature quite low.
Yeah. So low enough that it doesn't really. Hi, Piper. Low enough that it doesn't really cause that processes sort of stop.
Yep.
And then you can rewarm it back up. Yeah.
Slow.
Yeah.
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 A lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The recipient bodies had to be kept alive using mechanical ventilation and drugs to stimulate the heart. The grafted heads were also able to function. The eyes tracked moving objects and it could chew and swallow. There were problems with the grafting of blood vessels that led to blood clots forming, and White used high doses of immunosuppressant drugs that had severe side effects. The animals died between 6 hours and 3 days after the heads were engrafted. These experiments were reported and criticised in the media and were considered barbaric by animal rights activists.
Agreed.
There were few animal experiments on head transplantations for many years after this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before, like when it comes to experimentation, like, hello, just get humans.
Yeah, but what kind of human is going to agree to that? You have to get consent, even if it's someone that you wouldn't want to get consent from.
Right.
You remember, if you don't get consent, you end up having stuff like the Holocaust happen again.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
But, surely we could experiment on freaking pedophiles or something.
Yeah, but that's
Prison.
But what if they're not pedophiles? What if they're unjustly
Yeah.
imprisoned?
Yeah.
And then you find out 20 years later that they're being, their crimes are being washed from their records, and whoops, they died because we experimented on them.
Oh, yeah. True.
Like, we can't do that kind of shit to animals or humans, really.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is I'm in the boat where limiting animal experimentation as much as we can is important. This sort of animal experimentation is a bit stupid, and I think a bit too much.
Yeah, it's a little bit unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this. If you want to do that sort of stuff, do it on things like insects, at least. Not mammals.
What, head transplants on insects?
Well, it'd be the same sort of theories.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be very different, though?
It'd be harder, because it'd be smaller.
But that would be really different in terms of, using it to practice for then doing on humans.
Yeah, I suppose it
So
would.
that's why we do use mammals, because it's a lot closer to humans.
I guess the only reason they're saying this can be justified is that they did this with other organs, so why is the head any different? It's like, well, when are we ever going to use this in human medicine?
Yeah.
When are we ever going to put someone else's head onto... I understand that there might be theoretical uses for it, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
The only thing... So the one that I just read about the monkey is really weird, though, because they only connected the blood vessels, not the nerves.
Yes, right, yeah.
So the heart had to be stimulated to be able to do its thing because it didn't have a brain attached to it. And so the blood was going through the body, but the brain couldn't communicate to the body it was attached to in any way. That's just bizarre.
It is. I feel like if they're going to do that much, they may as well try connect up the nervous system as well.
Yeah. The only
Which I know is really complicated.
Yeah.
But
nerves are hard.
Yeah.
Connecting nerves is really difficult.
Of course.
Cool. So the next one, that last one was in 65. The next one...
1965?
Yeah, the next one is in 2012.
Okay,
The last
which
one was in
what?
65.
Not that long ago, really.
Not that long ago.
A lot closer than 1965.
Yeah, but 50 years in between before a different experiment.
Yeah, what's with that?
Because there
Do
was all that...
do you reckon people did it in their own basements and
I
stuff?
bloody hope not.
Oh, I reckon they might.
Gross. Because there was that thing about the animal rights activists and the media.
Yeah,
So then people weren't allowed to do it anymore.
Yeah, but maybe they still did it, on humans.
No.
In a basement.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good
No.
screenplay in the making, I think.
I know. You're too creative for your own good. No.
Yes. People putting ads on.
Oh my god, that's like you and the fucking cannibal again.
Yeah. But this time just to do head transplants.
Oh my god, stop.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh my god.
Right, continue.
Okay, in 2012, Xiaoping Ren published work in which he grafted the head of a mouse onto another mouse's body. Again, the focus on how to avoid harm through the loss of blood supply. With his protocol, the grafted heads survived up to 6 months.
Okay.
So it went from 3 days to 6 months.
But do you connect the nerves?
It doesn't say. It said the focus was on how to avoid loss via the blood supply. In 2013, Sergio Carnevero published a protocol that he said would make human head transplantation possible. In 2015, Xiaoping Ren published work in which he cut off the heads of mice but left the brainstem in place, and then connected the vasculature of the donor head to the recipient body. This work was an effort to address whether it was possible to keep the body of the recipient animal alive without life support. All prior experimental work that involved removing the recipient's body's head had cut the head off lower down, just below the second bone in the spinal column. Ren also used moderate hypothermia to protect the brain during the procedure. So he left the brainstem there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because your brainstem controls your breathing.
Yes.
Does it control your heartbeat too?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess in turn it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got breathing and that makes...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they describe the brainstem as our lizard brain.
Right.
Because lizards, we evolved from lizards into mammals, and then, So the lizard brain is like our pre-brain.
Yeah.
So the brainstem has evolved from our lizard brain, and then we get more and more complicated.
Yeah, it's like our prehistoric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of our...
Better necessities that,
Exactly.
I know some science stuff.
You too. You need to give yourself more credit sometimes. In 2016, Wren and Canavero, those two scientists I've just
Not
talked
Ren and
about.
Stimpy.
No.
Great space right now.
Published a review of the attempted... let me start again.
Ren and who?
Wren and Canavero published a review of attempted as well as possible neuroprotection strategies that they said would be researched for potential use in a head transplantation procedure. They discussed various protocols for connecting the vasculature, the use of various levels of hypothermia, the use of blood substitutes, and the possibility of using hydrogen sulfide as a neuroprotective agent. That was only 2 years ago.
Okay.
So, ethics and popular opinion.
Ooh.
Arthur Kaplan, a bioethicist, has written, "Head transplants are fake news. Those who promote such claims who would subject any human being to unproven cruel surgery merit not headlines but only contempt and condemnation."
Again, keep them in your basements, people.
Thinking of that.
I'm sorry.
White became a target for protesters, that guy in 1965 who did the monkey experiments. He became a target for protesters because of his head transplantation experiments. One interrupted a banquet in his honour, offering him a bloody replica of a human head. Others called his house asking for Dr. Butcher. When White testified in a civil hearing about Dr. Sam Shepard's murder case, lawyer Terry Gilbert compared Dr. White to Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, wow.
The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, described White's experiments as epitomizing the cruel vivisection industry.
Ooh.
In general, the field of transplantation medicine has been met with resistance and alarm for some quarters as advances have been made. Joseph Murray, who performed the first kidney transplant in 1954, was described as doing something unnatural, or as playing God. These continued as other organs were transplanted, but perhaps became the most sharp as head transplants and face transplants, hand transplants, and face transplants emerged in 1998 and 2005, as each of these are visible, personal, and social in ways that internal organs are not. The medical ethics of each of these procedures was extensively discussed and worked out before clinical experimentation and regular usage began. I didn't even know hand transplants were a thing.
Hand?
Hand.
Yeah, I've heard of hand transplants.
Yeah, now I mostly think of that thing called alien hand syndrome, where you think your hand isn't yours and does things, and you're like, oh my god, what is this hand? Like, I don't understand, what is it doing? It doesn't belong to me. But it actually belongs to you. Yeah. With regard to head transplantation, there has been little formal ethical discussion published in the literature and little dialogue among stakeholders as of 2017. The plans of Canavero were running well ahead of society's and the medical establishment's readiness or acceptance. There was no accepted protocol for conducting the procedure to justify the risk to the people involved. Methods of obtaining informed consent were unclear, especially for the person whose body would be used. Issues of desperation rendered the truly informed consent of the head donor questionable. With regard to societal costs, the body of a person willing to be an organ donor can save the lives of many people. And as of 2017, the supply of tissues and organs from people willing to be organ donors did not meet the medical needs of recipients. The notion of an entire donor body going to one other person was difficult to justify at the time. So yeah, if you can get one body and save 15 people, it wouldn't make sense to use that one body to save one person.
Yeah.
If that one body can save 15 to 20 people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole trolley problem thing.
Yes.
Because there's actually an analogy like the trolley problem thing, where is the doctor able to kill one person to save 5?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of analogy, but for some reason that particular analogy people don't agree with. Louis, don't sniff the microphone. Oh my god. Yeah, for some reason people don't think that the analogy between the doctor and the trolley problem work. Like, they're not the same. And it's really hard to work out why.
Yeah. No.
Why aren't they the same?
No, they are the same to me.
So a doctor is within his rights to kill a healthy person to save 5.
Not kill.
But that's the point. Say you and 4 other people in your room and you're worried about your your loved ones. They're all going to die.
Yeah.
There's one healthy person sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Is the doctor allowed to go and kill that healthy person to save your loved ones?
But I could.
Are you morally permissible to do that? Is it morally permissible to you go to kill another human to save 5 others?
It should be, but I know it's not.
Then how is that different from the trolley problem?
The trolley problem is not real.
Well, neither is the medical one. This one's actually going to happen. It's not the point. Reality of this is not the point.
Yeah.
Thought experiments are not real.
Yeah. It's hard.
The way that I have always heard it be justified is using it as a means to an end. So when you pull the switch in a trolley problem, killing that one person doesn't actually, like that killing that one person sort of like a byproduct of that action. You didn't actually intend to kill that person to save the other 5 people.
But isn't that because there's an option though?
Yeah, but if you had pulled the switch and the person wasn't there, it would have made it would have had a very similar outcome. Whether or not the one person is there or not doesn't really change the outcome. Whereas if with the medical one...
No, but it does.
But it doesn't, because if you pull the switch, regardless of whether that one person is there, those 5 people are going to be saved, regardless of whether that one person's there or not. The 5 people in the medical problem will only be saved if you kill that one person.
Yeah.
So that one person you're using as a means to an end.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the way that I've always discussed it,
All
is
right.
that whether or not you use the one person as a means to an end.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, I'm with you.
You with that?
Yep.
Yeah. First year philosophy.
Yep.
Yeah. Basic legal issues, this is on the head transplantation thing,
Okay.
were also unclear as of 2017 with regard to whether only one or both of the people involved would have any legal rights in the post-procedure person. Ooh, that's a good point.
What was that? Repeat it.
So, legal issues were also unclear as regard to whether the only one or both of the people involved would have any legal rights in the person made post-procedure. So in other words, who owns the body? The head or the body? And if there's 2 heads, who owns the body?
Yeah.
Which head? Yeah?
Like, yeah, which part's the owner?
Yeah. Who has legal rights?
This is hurting my head.
Do you need a head transplantation?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a headache today and I would love a head transplant.
I think it's really interesting about the legal and moral issues it brings up.
Yeah.
Especially as well, I was saying about informed consent, that a lot of people would only consent to this because they're desperate. And is that really consent?
Yeah.
If they're desperate to be saved.
Yeah. Or if they're desperate for money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, like, selling your kidneys.
Yeah, but doesn't that come down to nearly everything that you can, like, it's like in, I think, parts of America, like, you actually paid for blood donation as well. And that's not a thing in Australia. You're not paid for your blood. Again, is that, does that come out of desperation? I think consent?
I find that questionable.
Yeah, it is questionable.
Yeah, I don't agree with paying people for blood.
Yeah.
I think that's...
And that comes like same paying people for organs. Like that comes down to like a market kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, again, is it because they're a giving person, or does it come out of desperation? Like someone actually needs the money?
Yeah, because in Australia, I think if you donate organs, if you're alive and you donate a lung, or not lung, you donate a kidney or a bit of your liver or whatever, you don't get paid.
No, of course not.
No. So, and I'm not sure if black market organs do exist.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I find it really morally questionable when it's part of the system.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Yeah. And it's not. Yeah, like I said, it's not here.
Yeah.
In the States, I'm not sure about the. About the being paid for organs, but I know in some parts you do get paid for blood donation.
Yeah.
So,
because think about all those poor people who need lots and lots of money. They'll just go from place to place to place, donating their blood and potentially hurting themselves.
Yeah, it does happen, and I vaguely remember an episode of The Simpsons, of course. Showing aspects of that.
Yeah,
being desperate for money and basically, donor hopping, going from donation
that's
places.
so dangerous.
It is really dangerous. Yeah.
Anyway. The psychological results of the procedure were unclear as well. While concerns were raised about whether recipients of a face transplant and their social circle would have difficulty adjusting, studies as of 2017 found that disruptions had been minimal. But no transplant has ever been performed where the entire body of individual is unfamiliar at the conclusion of the procedure, and one of the few documents discussing the ethics of the biomedical literature, a letter to the editor of a journal published in 2015, foresaw a high risk of insanity as a result of the procedure. I suppose if you're suddenly in this body and you don't know how long your arms are anymore, or how big your steps are, or the way that your gut feels when you eat food, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think like proprioception, you don't know what your body actually feels like anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that would make you a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Popular opinion about Canavero's plans for head transplantation have been generally negative as of 2017. Many of these criticisms focus on the state of technology and the time frame in which Canavero says he will be able to successfully conduct the procedure. I think I remember him saying something like he was going to have it done by 2020.
Yeah?
Yeah, like that soon.
That's so soon.
Yeah, like everyone's just like, what? You're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Well, I reckon it could be done.
I don't reckon it could be done successfully in humans.
Yeah. The thing is, often they're doing it wrong. They're going about it the wrong way. Don't be using animals. Actually use a freaking human.
Yeah, but what human is going to consent?
Ones you need money.
That much money to potentially die?
Yes.
What will give you $1 million, but there's probably a 95% of the chance you'll be dead in a year.
Yeah, or
what's the point of that?
Give it to their family. They might be struggling. But again, that comes down to desperation.
Exactly. You can't say, I'm going to take all this money and die and give it to my poor starving family, because no ethics committee would say yes to that.
Ethics schmick.
Because the ethics committee are like, no, you're only doing this because you're desperate for money.
Yeah.
You're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, well,
like
it's not of your head.
Yeah, it's not it's not an ethical decision.
No, it's not, but it's practical.
Anyway, popular culture. In literature, Professor Dowell's head in 19... Dowell's, as in like stick.
Yeah.
Dowell, D-O-W-L-E-L, head. Professor Dowell's Head is a science fiction novel by Alexander Baylev in 1925. Arthur Negan, or Gorilla Man, a Marvel Comics character that had transplanted his head onto a gorilla's body.
Yep.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in 1987, Dio Brando, the main antagonist, transplanted his head onto Jonathan Joestar's body, the main protagonist, between Phantom Blood and Stardust Crusaders. That sounds terrifying. Noggin, 2014, by John Corey Whaley. Travis Coates wakes up after undergoing a head transplant after 5 years of being cryogenically frozen.
Of course.
In film, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, in 1962, which was a science fiction / horror film.
Of course it was.
The Thing with Two Heads, in 1972, which was a science fiction film.
Yeah, all those B-grade horror films,
Yeah. The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant in 1971, which was a science fiction horror film.
Yes, of course.
And The X-Files, I Want to Believe, in 2008, a science fiction film. But I didn't say...
Oh, it's like the X-Files film.
Yeah.
I never got around to see it. I wasn't a big X-Files fan.
Okay.
My family were, but I never got around to seeing the film.
In video games, B.J. Blazkowicz, protagonist of the Wolfenstein series, has had his head transplanted onto a genetically engineered body in Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. Cool.
Yeah.
That is the whole article. But there is another article called Isolated Brain. So, similar article. You were saying you wanted your brain to be a brain in a jar. Eventually.
No, I want my head to be a head.
Well, this is close enough. An isolated brain.
I don't just want my brain in a jar. I want my whole head in a jar.
Well, okay. This is close enough. An isolated brain is a brain that is kept alive in vitro, either by perfusion or by a blood substitute, often an oxygenated solution of various salts, or by submerging the brain in oxygenated artificial cerebrospinal fluid. It is the biological counterpart of a brain in a vat.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is literally a brain in a vat.
Right.
A related concept, attaching the brain or head to a circulatory system of another organism, is called a head transplant, which is what we just read. An isolated brain, however, is more typically attached to an artificial perfusion device rather than a biological body. So it's literally a brain in a bit of liquid that acts like a human body.
Okay.
So it can keep doing its brain thing, but it's not really attached to anything.
Right.
But it's still alive. The brain of many different organisms has been kept alive in vitro for hours, or in some cases days. The central nervous system of invertebrate animals is often easily maintained as they need less oxygen and to a larger extent get the oxygen from their cerebral spinal fluid. For this reason, their brains are more easily maintained without perfusion. So they're animals like insects. They have very simple brains.
Yeah, okay.
Mammalian brains, on the other hand, have a much lesser degree of survival without perfusion, and an artificial blood perfusate is usually used. For methodological reasons, most research on isolated mammalian brains has been done with guinea pigs.
Oh, no.
These animals have...
Not gimme pigs.
Guinea pigs. These animals have a significantly larger bacillary artery, or the major artery of the brain, compared to rats and mice, which makes cannulation much easier.
Not gimme pigs.
Guinea pigs.
You know why I call them gimme pigs?
Why do you call them guinea pigs? So like gimme?
Yeah, they're always, as soon as they hear you,
So some history about brain in the vat.
brain in a what?
Brain in the vat.
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 So they're saying bat, like a bat. Bread roll.
Brain in a bread roll.
Brain in a
That
bat.
sounds like something my grandfather would have eaten.
Ew.
In 1812, Julien Jean César Lagalois put forth the original idea for resuscitating severed heads through the use of a blood transfusion. In 1818, Mary Shelley published Frankenstein. In 1836, Astley Cooper showed in rabbits that compression of the carotid and vertebral arteries leads to death of an animal. Such deaths can be prevented if the circulation of oxygenated blood to the brain is rapidly restored. In 1857, Charles Brown Sequard decapitated a dog, waited 10 minutes, attached 4 rubber tubes to the arterial trunks of the head, and injected blood containing oxygen by means of a syringe. 2 or 3 minutes later, voluntary movement of the eyes and muscles of the muzzle resumed. After cessation of oxygen, blood transfusion movement stopped.
Okay.
So in other words, kill the brain,
Yeah.
give oxygen to the brain comes back.
Yeah.
In 1887, Jean-Baptiste Vincent Lambert made what appears to be the first recorded attempt to revive the heads of executed criminals by connecting the carotid artery to the severed human head to the carotid artery of a large dog.
Huh. Okay.
So yes, they did do experiments on humans.
Good.
According to...
But where did, how was that ethical?
It's not. You didn't say it was ethical. You just wanted people to use humans. What more do you want? According to Laborde's account, an isolated experiment of partial restoration of brain function was attained.
Okay.
In 1912, Corneille Heymans maintained life in an isolated dog's head by connecting the carotid artery and jugular vein of the severed head to the carotid artery and jugular vein of another dog.
Okay.
Partial functioning in the severed head was maintained for a few hours. In 1928, Sergei Brukhonenko showed life could be maintained in the severed head of a dog by connecting the carotid artery and jugular vein to an artificial circulation machine. In 1963, this is the Robert White one. Isolated the brain from a monkey and attached it to the circulatory system of another animal. We already looked at that one. In 1993, Rodolfo Linnaeus cultured the whole brain of a guinea pig in fluidic perfusion system in vitro, which survived for around 8 hours, and indicates that field potentials were very similar to those described in vivo. So guinea pigs in 1993. So in philosophy, so this is a philosophical thing, we talk about brain in the vat.
Yeah.
In philosophy, the brain in the vat is any variety of a thought experiment intended to draw out certain ideas of certain features of our ideas of knowledge, reality, truth, mind, and meaning. The contemporary version of the argument was originally given by Descartes, i.e. that he could not trust the perceptions on the grounds that an evil demon conceivably might be controlling his every experience. And that brain in the vat is the idea that a brain can be fooled into anything when it fed appropriate stimuli. So think the Matrix.
Yeah.
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 Because your brain is literally just receiving chemicals and inputs.
Yeah.
something could be manipulating those chemicals and inputs.
Yeah.
The inherently philosophical idea that had also become staple of many science fiction movies, with many such stories involving a mad scientist who might remove a person's brain from the body, suspend it in a vat of life-sustaining liquid, and connect its neurons and wires to a supercomputer, where it would provide the electrical impulses identical to those that the brain normally receives. According to such science fiction stories, the computer would then be stimulating a virtual reality in which appropriate responses to the... The computer would then be stimulating a virtual reality, including appropriate responses to the brain's own output, and the person with the disembodied brain would continue to have perfectly normal conscious experiences without these ever being related to objects or events in the real world.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No such procedure in humans has ever been reported by a research paper.
But you know that will be the future.
Everyone in brains and bats.
I reckon.
Well, it's less...
Yeah.
You use less resources,
Exactly.
But you need to hire someone or have very, very, very intelligent robots to look after these brains and bats. But then that's edging into Matrix territory.
Yeah, true.
Anyway. No such procedure in humans has ever been reported by a research paper in a scholarly journal or other reliable source. Also, the ability to send external electrical signals to the brain of a sort that the brain can interpret, and the ability to communicate thoughts or perceptions to any external entity by wire, except for basic commands, is well beyond current technology. So we wouldn't be able to make signals to the brain that the brain could interpret yet.
Okay.
You got to think about it. Your brains get like so much stimuli. How would we be able to manipulate that? How would we be able to mimic that?
Okay.
Because we're getting hearing stimuli, smell stimuli, sight stimuli, touch stimuli, and our brains choose to ignore bits and pieces of it at any one time. But we still need to receive all of that stimuli all at once. Otherwise, it feels strange. Imagine going through life. I mean, like people do this, going through life without a sense. It'd be like akin to that, but suddenly, like if your brain got moved from your body to a vat, all of a sudden your sight disappears. It'd be very hard.
Yeah.
Isolated, so this is another section called grown. Isolated biological brains, in quotation marks, growing from cultured neurons which were originally separated have been developed. So they've grown brains. These are not the same thing as brains of organisms, but have been used to control some simple robotic systems. They're giving the robots brains! No, don't give the robots brains!
Why?
We're all gonna die!
Well, it can't be much worse than what we're, the state of the world at the moment.
You don't give the robots brains!
Well,
sometimes I wonder whether these people have seen The Matrix.
Well, it might be better. I wouldn't be worried about The Matrix, the least of our problems.
Are you serious?
Have you seen iRobot?
Yeah, but that's a similar thing.
No, it's pretty different.
No, iRobot is about the militarization of robots within their own communities. Matrix is about bombing the fucking sun, or the fucking sky, rather, and then being fucking farmed by robots.
Yeah.
As batteries.
Yeah.
That's worse. I think than an army of robots trying to kill us, which actually was an army of robots initially.
Yeah, but I don't know. iRobot kind of freaked me out more than The Matrix.
Have you ever seen The Animatrix?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Animatrix freaked me the fuck out. Like the first two bits of it, which is about how it came about.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen The Animatrix and you're a fan of this kind of stuff, watch The Animatrix. It'll fucking blow your mind.
The Animatrix was, pretty good. It was up there with the actual film.
Yeah. Yeah, the first two... So it's a collection, it's an anthology of short stories around the Matrix universe.
Yeah.
The first two stories it's a two-part about how the Matrix actually came about. And it's fucking terrifying. I don't know why. I
find everything terrifying.
I watched it too young, probably.
No, probably.
And I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? Anyway. In 2004, Thomas DeMaas and Carl Deckendorf made an adaptive flight control with living neuronal networks on microelectrode arrays. Make with that what you will, because I don't understand. Teams at the Georgia Institute of Technology and the University of Reading have created neurological entities integrated with a robot body. The brain receives input from sensors on the robot body, and the resultant output of the brain provides the robot's only motor signals. Stop giving the robots brains! Fuck! That's not cool, man. In fiction, the concept of brain in a jar or brain in a vat is a common theme in science fiction. Again, in this novel, the head of Professor Dal discovers a way of keeping heads of dead people alive and even giving them new bodies. After his death, Dal himself becomes a subject of such experiments. The Migo aliens in Cthulhu mythos of H.P. Lovecraft, first appearing in the story The Whisperer in Darkness in 1931, can transport humans from Earth to Pluto and beyond, and back again, by removing the subject's brain and placing it into a brain cylinder, which can be attached to external devices to allow it to see, hear, and speak. In Edmund Hamilton's Captain Future novel series, the Professor Simon Bright is a human brain living in a transparent case. In Donovan's Brain, the 1942 science fiction novel by Kurt Sidermack, the brain of a ruthless millionaire is kept alive in a tank, where it grows to monstrous proportions and powers. In C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, in the final novel of Space Trilogy, that hideous strength uses the isolated brain of Francois Alcazan, an Algerian radiologist guillotined for murder, as a plot device. At some point in the novel, it was revealed that Alcazan's artificially perverse head used to allow evil intelligence to communicate with humans directly. In Roald Dahl's story, Roald Dahl of all people, William and Mary, after William's death, his brain is kept alive on an artificial heart.
Oh,
that's weird.
Sweet.
In Madeleine Engle's novel A Wrinkle in Time, the character It is disemboweled body. The character It is a disembodied telepathic brain that dominates the planet of Kazmatos. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, in June. Mum Loves June. Is the prequel to a trilogy. Cymex are disembodied brains that wear robotic bodies. In the 1970s Doctor Who serial, The Brain of Morbus, Solion, an authority on microsurgical techniques, transplants Mobius's brain into an artificial translucent brain cylinder casing. Additionally, in the modern Doctor Who series, 2055 to present, the recurring antagonists known as the Cybermen are presented as human brains, in one instance an entire human head encased in mechanical exoskeletons, connected by an artificial nervous system. This is ostensibly known as an upgrade from the comparatively fragile human body to a far more durable and longer lasting shell.
That's what I want.
Do you want to be a Cyberman?
Yes, essentially yes. I want a body upgrade, please.
I don't want to sleep next to a Cyberman every night. It's not happening.
But body upgrade. And I wouldn't have a faulty one anymore.
It's true. But then again, you could have a faulty mechanical body.
No, I wouldn't feel pain and stuff. That'd be so nice to not have pain or poo myself, and it'd be amazing.
Yeah. Another group of modern Doctor Who foes, the Toclophane, who were revealed to be human heads encased in flying weaponized spears. The final forms of humans from the far future who turned to desperate measures in order to survive the conditions of the impending heat death of the universe. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the universe is like gonna collapse in on itself and it's hot as shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. Here we go. In the Doctor Who episodes, The End of the World and New Earth, Lady Cassandra is an isolated brain attached to a canvas of skin.
I love
with a
Lady
face.
Cassandra.
I hate her. She's a cunt and she's terrifying.
Don't say that about Cassandra.
She's a cunt.
No, she's like one of my favourite characters on Doctor Who.
Yeah, but she's still a cunt.
I don't care. She's like, moisturise, bitch.
I hate it. I hate it. In RoboCop 2, the brain, eyes, and much of the nervous system of the Detroit drug lord Kane is harvested by OCP officials to use in their plans for an updated RoboCop 2 cyborg.
Oh, cool.
These systems are stored in a vat shortly after the surgery, where the disembodied Kane can still see the remains of his former body being discarded before being placed into the fitted robotic skeleton.
Of course. I haven't seen that since I was little. I should be watching them as an adult.
I can't imagine seeing your own body being thrown away.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
That's just terrifying thought. In Futurama, numerous technological advancements have been made by the 31st century. The ability to keep hellheads alive in jars was invented by Ron Popeil. He was a guest cameo in A Big Piece of Garbage. And also apparently Dick Clark of Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve fame, still doing the countdown of the year 2999, has resulted in many political figures and celebrities becoming active. This became the writer's excuse to feature and poke fun at celebrities in the show. In The Big Day on Earth Stood Stupid, the big brain, an isolated brain and leader of the brain spawn, is outwitted by Fry. The brain's disciples have been attempted to dumb down every life form they meet to enable them to steal all the universe's data and hoard it in the infosphere. There are so many references to this.
Yeah.
So many. I'm just trying to find the ones that we know. And there are so many. In the Fallout series of games, isolated brains are used to control robots called robo-brains. In the Old World Blues downloadable content for New Vegas, a group of scientists called the Think Tank have a more advanced version of the technology. In the game, Cortex Command revolves around the idea of brains being separated from physical bodies and uses control units on the battlefield. The mother brain from the game Metroid is also a reference.
Okay. That makes sense.
A brain ship is a fictional concept of an interstellar starship. A brain ship is made by inserting the disembodied brain and nervous system or malformed body of a human being into a life support system and connecting it surgically to a series of computers via delicate synaptic connections, a brain-computer interface. The brain feels the ship or any other connected peripherals as part of its own body. For example, The Ship Who Sang, a short story collection by science fiction author Anne McCaffrey, is about Brainship Helva. Mr. Spaceship is an earlier story by Philip K. Dick about a brain ship.
I love Philip K. Dick. He wrote Do Androids Dream of Electricity?
That's right,
which is what Blade Runner's based on.
Yes, I do love Blade Runner. The Bomar monks of the Star Wars universe would surgically remove their brains from their bodies and continue their existence as a brain in a jar. They believe that cutting themselves off from civilization and all corporeal distractions leads to enlightenment. These monks are easily identified in The Return of the Jedi as the spider-like creature that walks past C-3PO as he enters Jabba's palace.
Okay.
Cool. There are many other cultural references. I did not read nearly, not even half of them. There are so many.
Yeah,
Feel free to have a look.
Yeah, there would be. I'll definitely, of course, so it was post the articles, the links to the articles in the description. But yeah, it's a nice long episode for our last one for the year.
There's also another concept called brain in a vat, which I think is slightly different to brain in a jar, but it's very similar.
Was that what you were reading?
I was reading isolated brain. So
wasn't that brain in a vat?
It's the biological counterpart of brain in a vat. So brain in a vat is a Wikipedia article specifically about the philosophical idea of brain in a vat.
Right.
This was about the scientific possibility of brain in a vat.
Okay.
So the biological part of it. So read the brain in the vat article as well, which is at the beginning of the isolated brain article, if you're interested about the philosophy of brain in a vat.
Okay.
Which was first discussed by Rene Descartes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And that's sort of, what Matrix is based off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's dark or creepy.
It's creepy.
Okay.
It's creepy being controlled by a bunch of aliens.
What?
Not aliens, no, robots. That you created yourself. That's the creepy bit.
I guess so.
You created these robots to do service to your community, and all of a sudden they turn in. Not all of a sudden. Then they turn on you and use you as a battery. That's fucking terrifying.
Where did that even come from?
That's the Matrix.
Why are you going on about the Matrix?
Because that's what the whole thing about. That's what brain in a vat.
Because I got none of that from the Matrix.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you get from the Matrix?
I kind of remember, but I don't remember any of that from the Matrix.
Okay.
Are you sure you're talking about the right thing?
Yeah. So,
Matrix about red pill, blue pill. And...
yeah. So what? Okay. So what?
No, that's it. I'm cutting you off. This episode has gone on for too long.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Well, that's another episode of
Dark and
Creepy Things.
Things.
And that marks episode 20 for the year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, all our listeners all over the world.
Yeah.
And our patrons for helping us make this happen without our cats eating us.
Yeah. You pay for our cats' food so they don't eat us.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, so head transplants.
Head transplants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the head transplants.
Yeah.
It's good. And I hope I can get one day.
If you could choose a body to be transplanted onto, like a
just a functional. No,
Okay,
not even. I don't even want a celebrity design
but
body.
okay.
I just
What if
want a
you
body.
could?
I just want a body that isn't killing itself.
But what if you
okay.
could?
No, I don't care. I don't care about any of that facetious crap. You know that.
I just want. Don't. I'm asking you for funsies.
I just
Fuck,
want.
have
Well,
some
fucking Cookie Monster's body then.
Okay, that's fine.
Whose body would you have?
I don't know. I've never even thought about it.
Oh,
To be
okay.
honest.
Really? Whose body
would you use?
I just said the Cookie Monster.
Why the Cookie Monster?
Why not?
Because it's fluffy and blue and weird.
Yes, of course. It's fluffy and blue and it looks comfortable.
It's probably not. It's probably hot.
Oh well. Whose body would you have?
I don't know. Someone tall.
What, bigger hands and bigger feet?
Oh, shut up.
Normal size hands?
Just
Regular-
normal proportions, okay? God!
Well, I would like a body that functions and isn't trying to kill itself.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
And I don't
Or
think...
the Cookie Monster.
But you know what? The whole, once you're alive, you start dying straight away, so...
Okay.
No, but you're never gonna get a body that's entirely 100% perfect.
Well, I just want one that doesn't, have autoimmune diseases and shits itself.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair enough. And isn't in pain all the time. Would be great. And maybe the Cookie Monster can provide that.
Maybe the Cookie Monster has the perfect body.
Yeah.
Maybe
the fairy in blue.
Yeah, maybe that's the body that everyone should desire to have.
Yeah.
New body image.
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster.
Alrighty then.
We are off for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Louie.
Thanks, Louie.
Thanks, patrons.
Thanks, patrons.
Thanks, listeners.
Look at your belly.
So now you have,
Belly. Belly. I'm rubbing belly's I'm rubbing Belly's tummy and rubbing Louie's tummy.
Louie's name is now Belly.
Look at him.
Oh, he's so pretty.
Look at him.
So we'll be back in about a month or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, a month or so. So it's a good opportunity to catch up on all 20 episodes of Dark and Creepy Things.
Well, if you were going to catch up on all 20 episodes in 4 weeks, that's 5 episodes a week. Easy. So you could listen to one every day on your commute to work.
That's true. Or when you're going to sleep at night.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit creepy.
Well,
listen to
some people
try to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty.
We'll see you guys soon.
No, it's not what you say.
What do I say?
You always say see you next time.
Oh, do I?
Yes, see you
next time.